Linking your sentences and using transitions is probably one of the most powerful ways to increase and improve the style of your writing with the least work. Sometimes you can link your sentences through a word or even several words, and you can do the same for your paragraphs. We're going to focus on sentences in this video, but it really is one of the most simple improvements you can make to your writing. So if you don't want to work on anything else to improve your style and to further engage your reader, at least work on transitions, because it is how your thoughts move from one to the next and how your paragraphs move from one to the next. So why is it important to link your sentences? Well, very basically, it creates flow, it creates cohesion and unity. And those are things that you can have a thesis statement in place, you can have good evidence and good support, but if you don't have flow, cohesion, and unity, your reader's not going to want to keep reading it, your reader won't comprehend what you're saying and where you're going, and they're not going to see how your ideas relate to one another. So linking your sentences is absolutely critical to how your reader understands what you are trying to say. It also makes your reader want to keep reading it, and it makes it easier to follow your progression of thought. Lastly, linking your sentences aids in your paragraph's organization. So your reader will see that you are starting at point A in a given paragraph and how you move to the end of your paragraph. And that is extremely important, especially when you start listing evidence and support. You have to show how everything relates. And it's through transitions and connective phrases that you do that. So here are some helpful techniques to help you improve how you link your sentences and utilize transitions. First, you want to use linking words to show relationships among your sentences. Some relationships you might have are comparison, summary, reinforcement, continuity, condition, consequence, etc. And I have a really helpful, it'll pop up, a really helpful sheet of transitions and connective phrases that you can plug in when you're trying to say something. So if you're trying to summarize something, here's a transitional phrase that you can use and just essentially throw it into your writing. It's really not hard. What if you're showing purpose? What if you're trying to compare something? Here's a list of things that you could say. On the other hand, what if you're trying to contrast something? What if you're trying to show condition or conviction or concession? This is a very nice list of different transitions that you can use. So at the very beginning, if you know that transitions are a very difficult place for you in your writing, simply pick one and put it in. Make sure that it's logical, but when you plug it in, more than likely it's automatically going to boost the flow of your writing. In this document too, it also has some information on how to effectively use transitions. So especially toward the end here, it's got more examples that you can use. So look over this entire thing, but I highly suggest that you print off this list, keep it next to you when you're writing an essay, and then as you're typing, you can go, oh, I need a transition because I'm moving on to another thought. Look at your list, plug one in, and off you go. It really is so simple. You just have to make the decision that you're going to do it. You have to be aware that you need to have transitions in your writing, and then you need to be proactive in adding them. It's not necessarily a natural thing that just comes out of your writing. Let's go back here. Also, you do need to be careful of using transitions based on context. So you can plug them in so long as you have that context, but plug and go won't always work. I've seen my students sometimes where they're struggling and they're really trying with transitions and they just start putting them in without even thinking about what they're doing, and then it looks really bad and it kills your credibility. So plug them in once you know the context and once you know the proper transition to use. And in that document I just showed you, it's really well laid out, so you just have to be aware of what you're doing. You can also use a demonstrative pronoun, which takes the place of a noun, and it creates that link because you state a noun in sentence A, for example. Then in sentence B, the one following it, you use that demonstrative pronoun, which relates back to the noun in the previous sentence. So you might have a sentence that says, gorillas are very family-oriented animals. This means, so this refers to the fact that gorillas are family-oriented animals. So the examples are of demonstrative pronouns are this, that, these, and those, and here are some examples of how you would use them. This means, those results show, these demonstrate, that may be true, but. So all of these demonstrative pronouns relate back to something in a previous sentence. So that's how you're creating a really strong link from one sentence to the next, and it's transitioning as you're showing a progression of thought. In the same way, you can use relative pronouns. Relative pronouns introduce a relative clause or a clause that describes a noun, such as who, which, where, or that. So Bob Jones, who is an editor for the New York Times, or these examples which support the idea that. So you use the relative pronouns pretty similarly to the demonstrative pronouns, but the relative pronouns are within a sentence, and so you're connecting the information within a sentence, and then with the demonstrative pronouns, you are linking sentences. Does that make sense? Hopefully you can see the difference. So relative pronouns are embedded within a given sentence, and then the demonstrative pronouns link sentences together. The last thing that you can do is use semicolons to separate two closely related clauses. For example, chocolate is my favorite food. I can't live without it. The tricky thing with semicolons is students don't often know how to use them. I think they see the comma on the bottom of a semicolon and think that that's what a semicolon does, that it acts as a comma, and that's not even close to being true. It's not a comma. If you wanted to relate it to another type of punctuation, it's actually closer to a period, but it creates a softer break than a period because it shows that these two are related. Now, if you have two sentences and you separate them by a semicolon and they are not closely related, then you're using it wrong there too. So my thing with semicolons is if you're not comfortable with them, don't use them. It hurts your credibility more to use them incorrectly than it does to not use them at all. Your reader's not going to go, oh my word, this person does not know how to use a semicolon because I don't see any. No, they're not going to think that. But if they see an incorrectly used semicolon, they're going to think, they don't know how to use a semicolon correctly because they did it wrong. So just omit them if you're not comfortable with them. But I still challenge you to try them. Give them a try. And I will try to highlight, if you're using them correctly or not. Just remember that they link to closely related clauses. So they act more as a period. They don't act like a comma at all. So they show a break between two clauses, but they have to be closely related. So it's just a way to kind of vary up your punctuation, how your sentences are structured, and it shows the relationship between the two. So these are some really easy ways to link your sentences. And if you want to start somewhere, start with using linking words and use the list that I provide you online. There's also another thing, let's see here, that I'm going to post online, and it's just called Transitions. What's it about, the function and importance of transition. So make sure you read through this as well because it's really good information and gives you more examples. And even more examples to use and when you would want to use them. So utilize the resources I've provided. Review, this material as much as you need to. But really, if you want to start somewhere small and relatively easy and have a really good impact on your writing, start with linking your sentences and your paragraphs. It can be hard. It is tricky. It does take an element of creativity, but I think it's easy to get started and at least use some fundamental transitions. That's going to improve your writing so much more than if you have nothing at all. So good luck with it. Keep me posted on how you're doing and if there's anything I can do to help.